7 holiday recipes in 7 days, and today we're doing
pecan pie.
One of our favorites. Let's get started. Welcome back to Heartway Farms. We're so glad you guys are here with us today. This week is a fun week. You know, it's December and we have lots of holiday recipes that we love as a family, and we wanted to share some of these recipes with all of you. So today we are doing pecan pie with a homemade crust. So we're gonna start with the crust first, right? So that's what we're doing in this section. So Julianne's gonna tell us what to do.
Okay, so the first thing we are going to do, add 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour to a food processor. You can do this by hand, but the food processor makes it much easier.
It might be louder, but it's much easier. Okay, next.
And now I'm going to add my 1.5 teaspoons of sea salt and 2 tablespoons of cane sugar. And then I'm just going to close it up and pulse it to lightly combine it.
Now next, the butter.
Yes, we have a cup of butter, and it is cold butter. It's been in the refrigerator. And we're going to add that to our food processor. And then we're going to pulse it until it's nice and crumbly. The butter has been all combined
and has made a thorough mess on my table.
You can see it's nice and crumbly. I like it. It's like you can barely see the butter in there. They're like tiny little peas.
It really does help doing this in the food processor, because otherwise it takes a lot of muscle to turn it into a proper dough with that kind of fine mixture.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
We have a half a cup of very cold water. This is ice water. We may not need it all. I just pour it in very slowly. If you were doing it by hand, you pour it little bits at a time and just continue to cut it all in together. Because this is a food processor, I'm going to keep it shut and pour it in as it's going. I didn't use all of the water. I don't think it needs it. We're gonna move this onto our cutting board.
And really, for this part, I'm just here for moral support. I'll help more later. But I actually, so now you're gonna work it with by hand, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I remember as a kid, like, really not liking pecan pie. Did you like it when you were little?
I've always liked pecan pie.
Really? Even as a
Yeah.
little kid? Okay, I did not like it. It was no good. Even, I mean, I hate to say it, maybe it's just because I was a kid, but I don't know. But even as an adult, I wasn't a big fan until this recipe. And the combination of this homemade dough recipe and the actual pecan filling, the combination of those two things make this pie my new favorite pie. This beats out the apple pie and the pumpkin pie for me at whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, any of the holidays. So yeah, so she's gonna work this. Julianne, you're doing a great job. Do you want me to take a turn, or are you happy doing it?
You could get me 2 pieces of wrap. Okay, I've just been pressing this together, and now I'm going to divide it down the middle. And then we're gonna shape them into their own little discs. And this pie crust is really nice because it can be stored in the fridge for up to 2 weeks and in the freezer for like 3 months.
Which is great, because if you, let's say for a holiday that you have coming up, if you need to make, 4 or 5 pies, which is pretty normal for our family. Can I wrap this up?
Yep.
Pretty normal for our family, then it's really nice. Usually we make the dough one day, get it over with, get everything in the fridge, and then actually put the pies together a different day, which is nice because you're not having to stress and do it all in one day. It breaks it up a little bit. All right, second.
There's that one.
All right, so there is the dough. All right, we have our crust done for the pecan pie. We only need one of these to make the base, and then the other one for fun decorations because we like to make them pretty. But this is gonna go in the fridge to chill for an hour, and then we'll come back and show you how to put the pie together. All right, the crust is chilled and done, and now we're gonna move on to making the pie, my favorite pie. All right, what are we doing first, Jules?
Okay, now to a bowl for the filling, we need to add 2.5 cups of pecans. Half of them are chopped and half of them are just kept whole. I'm going to do
Love pecans.
3 eggs.
I'm the assistant.
Half a cup of brown sugar. Quarter cup of cooled melted butter. You don't want it to be super hot just because there are eggs in there.
No cooked eggs, that's gross. Right?
And then we have 1 cup of dark corn syrup.
No wonder this tastes so good.
I might need to go get a spatula.
Oh. I remember my grandma Porter, these pecans reminded me, she would always buy she would go shopping at Eagle. Any of you local people, do you remember Eagle, the grocery store? You guys don't. You haven't seen it. You were too young. But growing up, we used to go to Eagle, and she would buy the whole nuts that we'd sit around the table and with a nutcracker, the little one, and crack all of our own nuts. She used to make us. She used to trick us into cracking fresh pecans for her pecan pie. We thought it was kind of fun as kids, so she made us think we wanted to do it so we could get her fresh pecans for her pecan pie. I liked eating them too. Anyway, what's next?
We're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm just going to eyeball it. Shocker, shocker.
That's how Julianne rolls. Oh, it smells so good already.
And then a half teaspoon of sea salt and 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon.
It's looking good. All right, do you want me to switch spots with you?
Sure.
Okay. Now you're gonna roll out the dough next,
Yep.
or do you want me to do it? You want to do it?
I can roll it the first one.
Okay.
And then while I'm getting the other one set up.
Okay, cool.
Okay, now our crusts are nice and hard. Let's see if I can open it.
You want them to be chilled and hard because it's hard to roll them out and work with it when it's sticky. It would just fall apart and it will make a mess on your even if it's floured surface, it just is a mess to deal with. So you want the dough to be chilled.
And I'm going to flour my surface.
All right, this is good. So this can just hang out here until we're ready, right?
Yeah. Because it is so hard, it usually takes a little bit of muscle just to get it pliable. It seems very hard to work with at first, but after a couple minutes, it becomes really nice and pliable. It cools down a little bit. It warms up, sorry. It warms up a little bit. It's still cold though. Which is what
It comes back to room temperature to make it usable.
Now let's see, I'm gonna check the size. I'm gonna roll it out just a little bit more.
She already has her pie pan ready to go, and it is greased. So this is ready for when she is done with the crust. I don't love all crust. I usually like crust, whether it's pie or pizza or whatever. I'm an edge person, a crust person. But if you guys don't have a crust recipe that you love, we've already showed you how to make this crust. I would highly recommend trying this recipe. This is my favorite crust by far. Do you need any help?
Just checking the size here. It looks, I'm gonna do a little bit more.
And it's okay to flour it to help with the sticking, just not too much flour. You don't want your pie to taste like flour. Get a little bit. That looks good already.
Okay, I think that's good. Yeah.
You have a knife already for shaping it.
To transport this over to the pie pan, I like to roll it just so it doesn't break on you as you're transporting it. Just because that's happened to me multiple times.
Yeah, and then that's a bummer.
And then you just gently unfold it.
Good tip. So yeah, she has some beautiful pies that we have done in the past. We probably have some pictures we could put up right here of those pies, but some beautiful decoration ideas, which just makes it fun. You absolutely don't have to. She'll show you how to make some decorations for the top of this. You can totally skip that and just have it be a beautiful pecan pie all by itself, but she'll give you a fun idea if you want to make a fun, pretty pie for holidays this year.
Can you give me a fork?
Yes.
I forgot to bring that here.
I am here to serve. Here you go.
Thank you. I'm just going to trim the edges a little bit.
I'll give this one more final little stir.
If you're not gonna do extra decorations like I'm going to do, you don't need to cut off the excess crust.
You can just do the pretty fold in, right?
And I'm going,
beautiful.
yeah, and I'm just gonna do flat. Like I'm not gonna crimp it at all the edges, I'm gonna let it lay flat because I'm going to braid some of the crust and make a braided rim.
All right, so you went around and made the whole top flat this
Yes.
time. Now what?
I'm going to take a fork and just prick a couple holes in the base of the crust so there's no bubbling.
Looks so pretty, Jules. Good job.
And then
Beautiful crust.
And then I'm gonna take the fork and just kind of press down the edges a bit. And then I'm gonna go put this in the freezer just while we're rolling out the other crust so it doesn't become too soft.
Yeah, you don't want it to get melty with all that beautiful butter in there.
Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and roll out the crust that I'm going to use for decoration. And then we can fill our pie. Okay, I have rolled out my crust. And now I'm just going to carefully cut 3 strips, like about a 1/2 inch in size each from the crust so I can make a braid.
So your plan is to do a braid on the side of the pecan pie, and then what else are you going to do? Like leaves
I think
and
little
stuff?
leaves.
Okay, so we have these adorable little cutters. Are you just gonna use the one cutter?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut another 3
Okay.
so they can be long enough to
I got
go
around.
make them longer.
Are you going over the whole pie?
Yes,
Okay.
over the whole edge.
That'll be so pretty. Pretty food is just fun to eat. Just makes it more more enjoyable. Do you need me to do anything?
I think I'm okay.
Okay. Okay, Julianne's beautiful braid is all done, and I went and got the crust out of the freezer just while we were waiting to keep it nice and cool. And I'm going to gently use some egg wash to kind of create an adhesive between the top of this crust so that when she puts the braid on there, it will stick. There we go. Food glue, we'll call it. So, next, Julianne.
Okay, we can go ahead and put this braid around the crust, and I'm just gonna lay it on top.
I'll hold this.
I'm gonna fill the gap in here with these.
So pretty. So braid around the outside here, and then you're gonna use your pretty cutout leaves, right?
Yep.
Come on.
And I'm just gonna kind of squish it a little bit
So
without
it stays.
ruining it. Then I'm gonna go ahead and line up my leaves.
The leaves are like my favorite part. I just think they look so good. Once they hold their shape, which is, you'll see it when it's done.
Now we can go ahead and pour in our filling.
All right, ready for me?
Yep. We may not be able to fit all of it in there.
We're gonna watch and
because
see.
it makes a very large pie, and our pie pan's a little smaller.
I think we're good.
Good?
Yep,
Oh, good.
it's perfect. Every pie pan is a little different, so you gotta just see. You don't want it overflowing in your oven, making a mess.
That looks so good.
It does look so good and beautiful already.
There we go.
I'm not gonna mess it up, but I'm going to just move it.
I'm going to egg wash the outside
You
of
do
it.
it this time. I will take the dishes. Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay, so the oven has already been preheating and is preheated to 350 degrees. We're gonna bake this at 350 degrees between 50 minutes and an hour-ish. We will let you know how long it goes. We usually let it go until it's beautiful. So you have to pay attention to it. You want a golden brown crust. You want this to look caramelized and beautiful. So we'll touch base. We're gonna get this in the oven and we'll tell you guys how long we baked it for. Like I said, around 50 minutes to an hour. And we'll show you the finished product when it's all done. All right, the pecan pie is done and it looks beautiful. Jules did an amazing job. It's just gonna be perfect to put on the table for the holidays. So I hope you guys try out this recipe. Use it with your family and your friends, and make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And yeah, we'll talk to y'all soon.